Hi everyone, this is Melinda here, your friendly face painter, and I wanted to take a couple minutes to show you how I set up my Craft and Go. I have to say that this is probably one of the best purchases I've ever made for my face painting business. It just relieves a lot of the stress with setting up and cleaning up before and after an event. It brings it down so that way you can concentrate more on making those awesome designs and make your clients really happy and not really have to worry about, getting up and going or making sure you have enough time to set up. Because we know once we get to these parties, we never know what we're walking into, and how long it's going to take to walk from our car and whatnot. So anyway, I wanted to show you how I have mine set up. Hopefully it can help you. A lot of these things that I'm showing you, I learned through a couple of videos that I saw on YouTube from other face painters who have set theirs up. And yeah, so I just wanted to share how I use mine, and of course it changes over time depending on new stuff that I buy or the event that I'm going to, but in general this is pretty much how I have mine set up. And I've used it about 10 times already, so I kind of have a feel for where I want things to go. So here we go. As you can see, I have all my paints laid out in front of me that I'm going to use. I do have a couple of extra palettes, smaller ones down here, and I use those when I feel the need. I'll just pull them up and leave them on top of here. But let me just start with I guess the back here, since that's the first thing that most people see. So as you know, the Craft and Go has the metal plate in the back, and it's really wonderful because you can add magnets to almost anything and stick it on. I previously had my stencils here in one of those coupon organizers, and I found it really frustrating to fumble through and sift through it. So I'm a visual person, so I want to be able to see things right away and use them when I see them in front of me. So one of the other videos that I saw recommended that you put some of those really thin magnets in between some tape and attach it to the stencils. So that's what I did here, and I had quite a bit of stencils, so I separated them so there wouldn't be so many sticking out, and I wouldn't risk crushing anything in the bag. I'm sorry, in the box, in the Craft and Go here. So I have my larger ones, the ones that I use more often with their own magnets. All right, and then the ones that I really don't use too often, the kind of ones that I bought like Walmart that have sort of some random simple designs, I put those on a ring. Maybe when I get around to getting more magnets, I'll separate them as well, but I had to decide which ones I wanted to use. And then I have my smaller ones on a ring because those don't really get into the kids' faces. You can kind of put that away off to the side when you do use them. And so those stick there, and those are really easy. My brushes, I got my kit with all of the attachments, I believe from Silly Farm, and it came with a large foam insert that reached all the way from end to end. So I cut it in half, and I put all the brushes that I use. I reinforced it, however, with some duct tape around the sides and on the bottom, because it is very soft, so with a lot of brushes it could fall apart, and I didn't want that to happen. And then I also put some magnets on the back and reinforced it with some more duct tape over it. So there's 1, 2 magnets here, and then the middle I have this clip-on one, which really helps support it and lets it latch onto the back there fairly well. I lay my brush bath right up here, so everybody knows I try to be as sanitary as possible, and anytime I empty out my water, I can refill it. Here is where I keep my Q-tips for lipstick. That also has magnets on the back. I originally had my magnets attached only with glue, but I found that things that bend very easily, with the glue hardens and it cracks and it breaks off, so I reinforced everything with more duct tape. So duct tape is a lifesaver here. I had this magnet from an art table, a magnetic art table that I have. I never really used it. I think you're supposed to put brushes or pencils in there, so anytime you use the table at a slant, they won't fall off. So I decided to put my bobby pins in there since they're metal and they stick to the magnets. You know, I just throw those in there, and of course my little screw here that came with the Craft and Go to tighten the legs. I decided to have that always in my kit in case, you know, something happens and I need to tighten the legs, you know, on the job or something. Moving on up, as you can see, I have a lot of my Artie cakes, one strokes, and larger rainbow cakes up here. I also have a bunch of them in here, which I had repotted a while ago, and I'll show you how I attach that or fit that into my kit in a second. But all of these have magnets on the back that are either glued or just reinforced with some duct tape. You know, I was pressed for time when I got new rainbow cakes, so I didn't even bother gluing them. They're just stuck in there with the duct tape. It does get loose after a while, especially in the heat, so double check them every once in a while, make sure everything's still on there. Same with these. Oh, this one actually was glued on fairly well. I haven't put duct tape on that one, didn't need it. But this one is just duct tape and the magnet in between. And typically when I use them, when I get to a gig, I don't uncover every single one. I kind of uncover them as I go because it's just easier at the end if I don't end up using all of them, you know, not to have to worry about covering every single one. And in case of the rain, I know that the ones that I haven't used are still covered and protected by the cover. So I tend to keep those on there until I'm ready to use them, and I either put them in my apron pocket or sometimes I put them in one of these bags if they're open, just so that they're in reach and I know where to find them. And then of course these bags, they came with the Craft and Go. In this bag I have all my dry materials in here. This is Star Blends, blush, glitter, tattoo brushes, blush brush, and some Star Blends applicators, eyeliner, things like that you know don't require any water to be used, so I try to keep those separated. And of course those have the magnets on all four corners, and again with duct tape reinforcing it. I have magnets on the back surface and on the inside surface glued in because these tend to get a little heavy the more you fill them up, and it just provides more support when you stick them on here. The bottom one, as you can tell, is my bling bag. It's got glitter, liquid glitter, my glues for my bling, and that's pretty much it. You know, I don't even bother cleaning it because it's just so full of glitter, and I don't, you know how it is with glitter, it just attaches to everything. So those are in there, some self-stick adhesive ones, and they're just ready to go. And moving down at the bottom, I have repotted some of my older rainbow cakes into one of those jewelry trays. I had one of the wooden boxes that closed, and once I got the Craft and Go, I kind of retired that. I still have it just in case I need it for you know, those gigs that specifically ask to keep your kit small, so I have it handy. But I noticed that these didn't fit quite well in the spaces here, so I had to cut off one end. I can't remember which end it was. Yeah, it was this end over here. So I cut off one row, and I put in between, as you can see, in between the two trays, I just slipped in some of the magnets. I didn't even glue them, they're just in there loosely, and that reinforces it to the metal surface in between. And this cover is just acetate with some duct tape, because I found that when I closed my kit, some of the things would get, you know, dug into the paint. I didn't want the paint to get ruined or stuck onto everything up here, so I put the acetate over it as a cover. I'm kind of in search of another alternative, but it seems to be working fine for me. And as well, down here I have my collapsible cup. This is, I had a regular cup before and it was kind of hard to try to puzzle piece everything in and fit. So this is really, really helpful. The cool thing about this, not only does it collapse and save space, but it's got these grooves on the top. So if you're in the middle of using a color and you don't quite want to put it back just yet, or you know, those brushes that you tend to use all the time, you can just lay it on the side and it won't go anywhere. And so that's there. I have my whites and blacks, the bases and the liners in this container, again with some magnets to reinforce it so it won't slide around in my kit. And this container I think I got at Walmart, and I hot glued the little spaces in between to make sure no colors kind of seeped into one another. So that's how I prevent that from happening, because they were removable and there was space in between them, which, you know, is not good, especially when you're putting white next to black. And then, you know, I grew tired of this sticking up because it doesn't quite lay flat or flip behind. So I just pried it apart and loosely put it on, and this kind of reinforces the top so it won't go anywhere when I'm done. Protects the paint. If it's dripping, it won't get everywhere. Of course, my spray bottle, it tends to either go here or end up over here over time while I'm using it. And I have paper towels in this little space to blot my brush. Another thing that I did that was a little different, that didn't come with the kit. Well, the kit comes with the metal plate for the bottom, but it only comes with one. And of course, you know, as face painters, some of us want to try to find, you know, really cheap alternatives. But the metal plate I have under here is from Home Depot. It's a 12 by 12 inch steel plate that I Velcro to the bottom, and I also put duct tape around the edges because it was kind of sharp and I had to trim some of the edges and I didn't trim them quite smoothly. So I kind of covered it and protected the edges with some duct tape there, and it seems to be working really fine. The only thing I find with that plate is it's a little heavier than the plate that comes with the Craft and Go, but it works really, really well. Not too much heavier, but a little bit heavier. So. But it was really good. I'm glad I took the time to put that in there, because everything that has magnets on this surface doesn't rattle around in my kit. When I'm cleaning up, I usually put my sponges in this area. Take this out and I put this under here. But I flatten out my sponges, or if, you know, I don't want to play around with fitting it in, I just throw this in my backpack. But usually they fit in there, and then I close my kit. So that's where my sponges go, and then I hang it from this little clip here. I have an extra clip to reinforce it if I need. And then on this side, as you can see, I have my paints repotted in the tray that comes with the Craft and Go. So all my solids here and a couple of one strokes that I made are in here. Maybe if I need the other spaces for solid colors, I'll transfer them into the smaller pots, but I had these in the black jewelry trays before, so I just kind of reused the larger size reservoirs in here for that. Again, I have the acetate paper protecting this so that the paints stay safe in there, nothing gets falls out, and it's also a good way to protect your paints from the rain. You can quickly cover it if you have a flash storm. So this here removes, and you can transfer it to either side, and usually I have things that I don't use too often during my gigs. I do keep gloves in a bottle because one prevents staining of my fingers. Like I showed you before, some of my extra colors in here. And that one piece or row of the jewelry tray that I took off the other one, I used for some new fab shimmers that I got when I visited Silly Farm. And I didn't have a place to put them, so I just reused this. I put magnets in between, made a little cover with some duct tape, and so I have those here ready to go for whenever I need them. I have a separate little jar or box of bling that I also have a magnet on. I keep it in here because if I put it here and accidentally open it, they might all fall out. And then of course in here I have my bling clusters that I made, and those are on separate little sheets or slivers of acetate, and I find that the dimensional glue is pretty sticky and it sticks to the acetate. It's really shiny, it's a really slick surface, so you know, they stick onto there, and if they, over time, if they end up falling off, you can just put some glitter glue on them. But I find it really easy to kind of go through. I try to keep them organized, silver and gold all separate, or the different shapes that I created, but I cut, you know, the piece of acetate to fit in here really nicely. So I have this out only when I know I'm at a gig that I have the time to use them. But you know, street fairs, things like that, where you don't really have time to be fishing through, you've got a long line, you got to cut out somewhere. So I tend to hide these so the kids don't ask for them if they see them, but you know how it is. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and up here I have a little business card holder. It attaches with Velcro. It's also got magnet on the back, and that just, when, you know, at the end of a gig, I throw it in here. It just prevents it from moving around. And, you know, of course I have my mirror that hangs onto the side. I tell the kids they can come over and look at themselves once more if they want to, so I always keep it there. And in my extra bag, my backpack, which I just recently purchased, I had a little duffel bag, but it was kind of annoying to have that on your shoulder. So in order to be able to use both hands, I got a backpack. This one's from Amazon. What I liked about it was that you get maximum space here with this style of bag. And you know, I have my step stool for my tall chair. Always gotta have your duct tape for your choice board in case that needs to be reinforced. And this is where I bring my water to my gigs, and my baby wipes go in here, my paper towel, and any other choice lists or charts and things like that. In the front I have, what do I have here? Oh, I have, you know, my little emergency kit for personal reasons, an extra pen, my light in case I need it, some Ziploc bags. That's pretty much it. I hang my garbage bag from the side here, my little towel, and that's all. I guess I'll show you really quickly how I pack it up, in case you were curious. So everything goes in here. Goes there. And that's it. Thanks for watching.